Welcome to the Monday edition of the Oxford Exxon podcast. Chase Parham and Neal McCready, Clark Ford studio this morning. We'll discuss some NFL. We'll discuss some college football. We had week one in the NFL season that went through, looked like without a hiccup. Looked like everything managed pretty well on Sunday. We're going to talk about the college season and the Big Ten backtracking as well. The Big Ten trying to, let me mute my thing.
The science changed. The science
definitely changed. That's exactly what happened.
Myocarditis went away in 4 weeks. It was a miracle, and it's the understated part of the weekend. We're so focused on football that we didn't realize that a medical breakthrough that will change lives happened miraculously in 4 weeks.
So we'll discuss that and more here on the show this morning. Show brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon. Highway 6 West in Oxford. You can get the Speed Pass Plus app. When you do that, you download it. You move on with your day because you pay right there on the app. You don't have to go in the store or anything. They get you out as quickly as possible. They also have the sleeves there at the pump. Don't have to touch anything. Grab them, use them, and move on with your day. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are coming to you from the Clark Ford studios. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number, ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. 662-257-1900. All you do is tell him, hey, here's what I'm looking for. He sends you the quote. You get the quote, and the rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around, or you can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that is hop into a Clark Ford today. You will love the product. You'll love the service after the sale. And, it's really that easy. I've loved them. I'm going to call this week. My truck needs to be serviced. I make a call. They work around my schedule. Just great. You'll love dealing with Clark Ford too. 662-257-1900. Guest will join us this week. We'll have a lot of shows. A lot of this week, frankly, is me catching up, learning some technology. Chase here masters it immediately. My friend Andy Kennedy, I can now call him my friend. Andy Kennedy once told me that it was his experience from coaching men's basketball all the years that he did it and still does it, that men are visual learners.
Really?
That's what he said.
Okay.
He said women can learn by you telling them something. Men learn visually. So I'm experimenting some today. We'll rotate seats and stuff at different times, but I'm taking this week to learn. Ole Miss opens its season in 12 days, as we told you on Hand Raise Guys on Saturday night, Saturday afternoon. We've got a lot of programming coming your way, and so it's imperative that I don't say, hey, Chase, you drive the ship the entire time. So I'm learning how to drive it a little bit today. So if we screw it up, it's my fault, but we're going to get better and better each day. When I say we, that means me. He's got it. I'll get better, and we'll get to a place where on game day we can hopefully bring you some quality programming.
We are using a new system that is much more intuitive. It is easier. It is quicker to learn. It's better for you guys. There's a lot of stuff that I think will help us and help you as we go about the entire day. We got applause and sound effects over here.
Yeah,
we got all kind of stuff. Just right there playing around. I mean, you can hit the applause button. Let them. They can get the clapping right now as we go through.
Could you hear that?
Oh, I don't have headphones in, so I can't hear anything we're actually doing.
Let's see. We'll learn a little on the fly.
Sounds bad on TV, Charles said. So what we'll be calling that? Yeah, if it sounds good on the phone, sounds isn't great.
Yeah, I don't even hear it.
Okay.
We'll learn.
Neil's mic's a little low.
My mic is low.
I don't know. Again, we're all learning. I'm reading from the stream as they're talking. That's all I got. So.
Yeah, so we've actually switched away from OBS. We're using Ecamm, which is what Jay is using now as well. No weather and traffic. Adam says he can't hear it. Can't hear us or can't hear the sound effects.
I think they couldn't hear the sound effects.
Yeah, I couldn't hear. Yeah,
I'll figure it out.
Today is day one of about 12 days of experiment. So anyway, I was telling you about guests will join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters on the Water is open still. It's open Wednesday through Sunday. Rafters in Oxford is open. You have to be seated, but it's open. And so they're pretty limited on when I say pretty limited, they're limited on seating. So you can go in. You can be seated in groups of 6 or less, and good place to watch Monday Night Football tonight. 2 Monday night games to round out the first weekend of the NFL, NBA playoffs. The semifinal, I guess game 7 of the Western Conference semifinals is tomorrow, and then the playoffs get started. Western and Eastern Conference finals this week. There is college football on the weekend, and then another weekend of the NFL, and we're getting closer and closer to SEC football. So a lot for us to be excited about. We're excited you guys are with us, and it's an interesting weekend, Chase.
It felt fairly normal. I mean, that's the thing we talked about. Mm-hmm. Get to the NFL, get to a spot where you just get through a full weekend. Because here's what's happened a little bit is I think it was so normal that slowly, mentally, I think people are going to, this is kind of back to our previous thing. We talked about no coaches being fired. Hey, this is a free season. We're set for the silliest season in the world because everybody's going to know that, hey, yeah, there are lots of issues. But I'll tell you, Saturday and Sunday were just normal enough that fan reaction is going to be just as pissed off as always. You're going to forget about the other factors. The NFL, I mean, hey, you're 0-4. You're the hell out of here. We'll figure it out. No, this thing is. I want to raise it. You said nobody's going to get fired. Well, that's already over because Jay Hobson's out at Southern Miss, so somebody has gotten fired. It appears for at least partial on-field performance.
Yeah, that deal's weird. But anyway,
whatever.
Yeah.
If he's winning, he's not fired.
Well, that is
he's
true.
Not resigning.
That is true.
I'm going to up it. I'm going to go 5 to 10. Power 5 coaches lose their job at the end of the season or before the end of the season.
Okay, well, let's do prediction time then. I know we were doing this, but that's okay. Does an SEC coach not named our boy at Vanderbilt who's getting fired, Derek Mason, does an SEC coach not named Derek Mason get fired for on-field performance?
I'm going through them. I'm trying to listen.
Because, I mean, somebody might sleep with the co-ed or something and
yeah, you can do stuff. It's whatever. I'm thinking. No. Because who's even possible? I mean, because the next guy on the list would have been like Muschamp's
the next guy on the list.
And he's not getting fired.
The 4 new guys are safe. Saban's safe. I mean, you have to really stretch to get Malzahn in this conversation.
No.
And Auburn can't afford it. Smart's safe. Mullen's safe. Stoops is safe. I know I'm jumping around. Orgeron's safe. He just went 14-0 and won the whole thing.
There's nobody else.
There's nobody.
No.
So it's Muschamp.
Yeah, and that's
I don't see it.
So it's Mason or no one in the league. But are you telling me that if the entire thing goes throughout the year that some of those Big 12 cats aren't getting fired the way that week 1 went?
Well,
because look, there's a lot of stuff we don't necessarily agree about. But
Kansas State.
We all agree with Jeff Ketchum a little bit. I was reading some of his 10 thoughts this morning about Texas. They blew out whoever they played on Saturday, and they had a 56-point win. And he was mentioning that, hey, there's some molehills, and I don't want to be overly negative, 56-point win, but there were some things Texas didn't do well. We need to talk about them. But then he came right back after that and said, but the Big 12 sucks. So it may not matter against anybody other than Oklahoma. Yeah. And I think he has a point because that league is god-awful.
Kansas State is that weird job that's going to be a weird job for perpetuity. Bill Snyder won there. Nobody else can.
It's potentially the hardest job in college football, at least one of the top 3 or 4.
All right, so Avery mentions the Fun Belt, and I was going to go there. We're going to get to the Big Ten in a minute because the Big Ten is going to be the big story today, and the Big Ten is going to be the absolute fascinating thing to watch with media. But yeah, they want us to zoom out a little bit. We'll get all that done. We're going to work on it. This is an experience.
I think I know how to do it, but I don't want to do it in the middle of the broadcast. Yeah. So we're just going to – it's going to be what it is.
I did it yesterday.
Okay. Do you want to hit the button now?
But I'm a little afraid to do it now.
And I think you'll only do it on your camera. I think we got to figure out my side of things from a different standpoint.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to try. Let's see what happens here. Here we go. I think that's a little better, actually.
I've got a delay on mine because I don't have the actual thing up, so I can't see it yet.
Okay. I think that did it for you. And then I'm not sure about.
Oh, you think you zoomed me out?
I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay. Oh, you did. Yeah.
How about
Yeah.
that?
You are. Oh no, went out. Hold on. You went too far because now I'm out of frame though.
Okay.
There's black space
All right.
above me.
Okay. Let's see.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you got to find the happy medium there.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be something we're going to have to do because when I to get the black space out, I've got to get you back where you're front and center.
Well, just a little bit, just a touch, because you had it, and you went one more hit, and it knocked it out. So if you go back in,
There
just
okay. I think I just
better.
did it.
That's
Is that better?
that. Yeah. Well, you went. Well, okay. Well, I've got a delay, so I mean, I've got. It's still bouncing around. It's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're okay. Yeah.
Chase's camera shakes a little bit because it
is attached to my laptop.
It is, and we're working on that too. We're ordering some cameras. We're working on some things. Again, this is if you guys just bear with us and sort of hang in for the ride. I think by the time we get to next weekend, we're going to be in great shape. We're experimenting a little bit with some stuff, and we've ordered some things, and no one can accuse us of not investing in our product after the last couple of days.
I'll be honest, this came together pretty quickly. I mean, this has gone by, I mean, knock on wood, with fewer kinks than maybe I would have anticipated.
Yeah, I'm unprepared to say that out loud. All right, let's
Okay.
get back to the Sun Belt because I want to get here. The guy deserves some credit.
Billy Napier?
Billy Napier gambled on Billy Napier. He's got a really good team.
He does, and he knew that.
The schedule they play is going to allow him to be really good. And even though it probably means he can't get out in a this year, they're not going away. And so when there's a reset in a year,
So you don't think he's Mark Husband Part 2?
there's no indication that he is. I think he might have done the right thing. I think he can get a much better job than Mississippi State within 24 months. And he might be able to get Mississippi State in 24 months if that's what he wants. But I think he could get better than that. For example, I think he could get the South Carolina job in 24 months, which is a better job than Mississippi State by any measurable metric, in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's
There's
fair.
more money.
His danger is twofold. It's simply the pandemic changing things where those contracts go down at some point and they don't get back for a long time, and he simply can't cash out or cash in the way he would have cashed in this previous offseason. That's one. And then two, and that's what we talked about them. It's what we talked about them, is Lafayette's really good. Lafayette will probably walk through a good bit of the Sun Belt. I think South Alabama's pretty good. It looks like they're okay. But yeah, they should walk through a lot of games in the Sun Belt. They should put a hell of a record up together. Given those teams' lack of depth, though, you're still that one injury away. And at the end of the day, does a program factor that in? Hey, he had a hell of a team, but this guy got hurt and this guy got hurt. Or you go, hey, my fan base is going to raise hell if I hire the guy that went 7-5, no matter how he went 7-5 at Louisiana Lafayette. You know what I mean? I mean, he still has those type of things in his head as he's moving through. But
he wasn't going to take the Mississippi State job. He wasn't going to interview for Mississippi State. They could hire him, but they'd have to wait till he finished his season, and he wasn't going to budge on that. He never wanted that hanging over him. I'm not leaving my team until our conference championship game is complete. In any shape, form, or fashion, I don't want that hanging over me. And while that is stubborn, coaches are stubborn. He's kind of a Saban disciple.
he is.
Ole Miss just hired a Saban disciple. Watch Kiffin in his media today. He's completely different than he was at USC or Tennessee because of the time he spent with Saban. I think maybe there's another explanation, but that's what I come up with.
There's a Saban portion of it. Frankly, it's what he's a little more comfortable with. Hey, I'm gonna, and because before Kiffin got here, we were told a couple of things. They said, look, everybody keeps comparing him to Steve Spurrier and stuff, and that's not him. He's not that outgoing, extroverted guy like Spurrier. Even though he sort of has the online persona to be that way, they said you're going to get two things. You're going to get a quiet guy. You're going to get a guy that's not going to go out of his way to interact with people necessarily. He's going to focus on pretty much what his job is, and if you can't help him win football games, he's not going to pay a lot of attention to you. And then 2, he's going to answer everything very honestly. And that's the 2 things we have gotten. You ask him a good question about, I mean, like you did with the Navy thing the other day, last week, you get a very thought-out answer, something he had clearly experienced before at USC. It's something he had clearly experienced before and thought about and tried to figure out how that relates to his current situation because of a lack of depth, and he gave you a very thought-out answer to it. He will do that every single time, and you will get honesty, and you'll get good stuff if you know how to make the most of it. But he's not going to sit around and be your buddy and slap you on the back and just talk about the beer he had.
Yeah, and if you say, hey, Lane, how's it looking at tight end? You're just going to get a really generic answer. We're a little beat up there.
Because he's not going to get the personnel. He's not his thing. That's a Saban thing. It's no personnel.
Not going to discuss personnel. Not going to discuss depth charts. Ole Miss will put out a depth chart a week from today, and that's going to be a depth chart that Sports Information sort of threw together, in my opinion. They'll run it by a coaching staff. If you had to make me guess, Kiffin's going to look at it for about, 2 seconds.
For any glaring, just, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, he's going to go, okay, put an or here, put an or here, put an or here, put an and here. Fine. He's not coaching off the depth chart, is my point.
Well, of course not.
But that's what's interesting. There's a lot interesting from week 1. We'll talk Big Ten in a minute because this story's coming, and it's going to really I have a lot of questions. Maybe you know some of the answers. I don't know them.
From the Big Ten?
Yeah, I have some Big Ten questions. I really do. I will tell you this year, Ole Miss Athletics proudly salutes their great healthcare workers. Our great healthcare workers needs your help in honoring them. Fans are encouraged to nominate their own healthcare heroes by visiting OleMissGameDay.com/heroes. Selected entries will be featured on the Ole Miss Athletics 2020 Stadium Cup, as well as video boards on campus venues. For more information, visit OleMissGameDay.com/heroes. Rebel fans, Ole Miss Hoops will be here soon. Don't miss 1 minute of the action. Renew or purchase your 2020-2021 season tickets for Ole Miss men's and women's basketball by visiting OleMissTix.com. The podcast is brought to you also by Jupiter Security Systems. They're based in Madison, Mississippi. They helped us yesterday. They can help you as well. Jupiter Security Systems provides your business with a help desk, allowing you to get software at a much cheaper price than you would pay going directly to Microsoft or the other different cybersecurity services. Jupiter Security System offers businesses the full Microsoft 365 suite, email, spam protection, and monitor their workstations and servers. They don't see your data, by the way, but they will know if malicious applications get installed on your computers, and they can catch that and help you immediately. They can also set up remote monitoring on a computer regardless of the location. So don't spend money on getting your employees new laptops to work remotely. Let Jupiter monitor their home computers and protect your data wherever you choose to work. They offer cybersecurity and monitoring. It's ADT for your computer systems and data, and it's very affordable with a flat price. No hidden add-ons. For more information, call Eric at 601-519-9583 or email info, that's info, at jupitersecurity.net or visit jupitersecurity.net.
Podcast is brought to you by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. You know about the way they have financing in Oxford for your condo, the float down option, and more. With the float down option, you lock in the current rate, but if rates go down before you close, you get that lower rate. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting and understands your market. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com. Yeah, you mentioned Lafayette, Napier.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be at the right fit. I mean, we spent an offseason talking about fits because we talked about Mike Leach sucked with his fit there. We don't know what Arkansas will look like with their guy with Pittman. Missouri, we'll see.
Arkansas
Kiffin potentially fits as long as everything kind of goes a certain way. You know what I mean? Like it works on the outside, and you kind of think there's a path as long as it all sort of falls in place. Napier, he's so – and it's not bad. He's just so boring. Like you're going to get no energy from a program in any way because a lot of programs, when they make a coaching change – they're looking for kind of either the opposite of what they just fired, or they're looking for something that's going to, hey, how are we going to drive tickets? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? And when you look at his resume, it's got to be a program that's willing to go, okay, this might take a minute. We've got the right guy, and fans are sort of okay with that. Because with Billy Napier, you're not going to get the flashy resume because at best he's doing whatever he's doing at Lafayette, and everybody goes, all right, great, you beat Troy. Awesome.
Sure.
Fantastic. You beat a sucky Kansas State team that's struggling without Bill Snyder. Okay, cool. You get that. He doesn't have a name, so it's not like, with Kiffin, you're getting this guy that's been here. I mean, he's the head coach of the Oakland Raiders, for God's sake. You're getting all this kind of stuff with him. The AD is going to be a little hesitant with Napier because there's not that flashy thing that gets any type of immediate reaction from a fan base. He has a higher ceiling, but he's a Dave Doran type, where he's going to show up to the office, he's going to work like crazy, he's going to recruit better than Doran. That's why he has a better ceiling. But he's that kind of personality. We're just going to talk football, and that's all we're going to do, and I'm not going to give you much, and we're going to move on with our day.
Well, where I think Ole Miss dodged a bullet on Napier is that what you hear inside the business is that Napier can put together a really solid staff. That's what would scare you a little. The rumor is, in the business, is the job that he has targeted is South Carolina. He thinks he can get that job, and he's willing to wait on it.
I don't know what his ties are up there. It doesn't matter. And I think it's just speculation, obviously. But Larry Joe makes a good point. From a fit standpoint, Napier would be a really good coach at Iowa.
Oh, makes a lot of sense
Kirk
there.
Ferentz.
Yeah. I don't know what they do long term, but that's coming for them. They're one of the schools that wants to play football this year badly.
Yeah, sorry, Iowa State, not Kansas State.
Oh, okay.
Arkansas State beat Kansas State. I got my Big 12 upsets mixed up.
It's a bad weekend for the Big 12. I'll tell you what it was a bad weekend for, as we just jump around. It's football weekend, and we get to react to football for the first time in a long time. It's awesome. Did you watch Georgia Tech, Florida State? Did you see the end?
Well,
left here.
So I saw the replay. I was not watching it as it happened.
Well, I went out to grill, and I turned on the TV outside. First, I turned to the Cubs. They were down 2-0, and I was like, I don't really feel like watching an empty baseball game right now. And I flipped back to Georgia Tech, Florida State, and I saw the implosion. And give Georgia Tech credit. They took advantage of it.
But, man.
And I realize this is Overreaction Monday, and this is way over the overreaction. This is a COVID year and all of those things. Florida State, to me, is in that mix with Nebraska and Tennessee of, yes, you were awesome once. I mean, you were a supermodel once. But there's no reason for me to look at them and go, oh, that's a sure thing. No matter who gets that job, that's a sure thing.
I'm going to separate them out a little bit because you're right. You're completely right. I still think Nebraska has a lower ceiling than those two. Location, history, but tradition, and I get they're the only game in town, but they're struggling to fit in their conference.
Of the three jobs,
weird.
Yeah, of the three jobs, that's the hardest one.
Tennessee and Florida State, with the right mechanisms, are still more than willing to get into the recruit market. There's still going to be ability to put top 10 classes together. I mean, Florida State is only a few years from a national title.
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee and Florida State are here and you're telling the truth, but Nebraska feels here and we're telling the truth. It's just not really the same thing to me. Mm-hmm. But no, I think Florida State and Tennessee are pretty good examples to one another where, look, it's not a sure thing. Well, look, here's the dirty little secret. Hardly any program is a sure thing. Florida was kind of crappy there. When you look at Florida's history, I mean, I get Mullen's probably going to do a pretty good job. But look at Florida's history outside of Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer. Not much there. It's coaches more than programs at a lot of places.
Yeah.
Now, when you get the right coach, you need the mechanisms in place to maximize that, and you need the recruiting situations to be good. You need your footprint and the money and all that kind of stuff. But look, a bad coach can be bad anywhere. There's hardly any program that's just 100% foolproof. I mean, USC right now can't seem to find its prior glory whatsoever. I mean, look around. Texas has struggled for years. Suddenly we're making fun of them as they're trying to get back. Alabama sucked for a while. I mean, college football is about coaches, period. That's it. It's coaches more than programs. Now, programs have ceilings and floors and differences, but give me the coach before the program at almost anywhere, especially if we're talking about Power 5 jobs being kind of interchangeable, unless you're discussing the Washington States and the Kansas States and the Iowa States of the world. Otherwise, I think you can just throw them in a big hat and pick them out for the most part.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. All right, let's talk some Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
The vote didn't happen yesterday, but the vote's coming.
Today, apparently.
The fact that they're having the vote
means
tells
they
you
already know the answer.
They know the answer to the vote. And now, and I thought this was interesting,
Ohio State may be a sure thing. Mark Angelo with a pretty thing. They've got coach after coach after coach that either they're great hires or it's just working. I'll give you that.
It's like Alabama is
Yeah.
a sure thing. And I say that as someone who worked in that state for a long time. Mike Shula won 10 games at Alabama. Dennis Franchione won 10 games at Alabama. Mike Dubose won an SEC title at Alabama.
I forgot that, yeah.
Anybody can win. Anybody will win at Alabama. Now, winning consistently year after year after year is not a sure thing. But they'll always be competitive. It's just, and Ohio State's in the same boat.
It's a Big Ten.
Speaking of Big Ten, speaking of Ohio State, they're all going to play. Even the final stragglers of I'll take my ball and go home have admitted they're going to play. I had this conversation this morning. We're going to hear a whole lot of people talking about, and hear me out here.
Sure.
About the power of football. This is an example of the power of football. And it is absolutely an example of the power of football. Okay. So before anybody thinks I'm minimizing the power of football, but this is not just a result of football. This is not happening only because of football.
Okay.
In my opinion. I think this is emblematic of something you're seeing around the country right now, which is backlash. You guys told us in March that 500,000 people were going to die. You guys told us in March, I'm just speaking for the masses a little bit, that we had to lock down and we had to do all these things. And now there's evidence that maybe that wasn't the right thing. And a month ago, you played politics with our football. A month ago, you said, hey, all these kids are going to die of myocarditis if we play. And a month later, we've watched high schools play all over the country. Kids aren't dying. And a month later, we've watched a whole lot of teams play college football. I mean, UAB's played, 3 games now? 2 games? I don't know. People have played games. All these SEC teams, all these Big 12 teams, no matter how crappy they are, they've all practiced, or at least shown up for practice. The ACC teams have practiced. Clemson looked like they'd practiced. You've had all these practices, all these stuff. They're on target to play. Notre Dame, right there in the middle of the Midwest, looked pretty sloppy, but they played a football game, Chase. Mm-hmm. They lined up and put on their gold helmets, and they played a football game. And what's happened, in my opinion, is the politicians, and that includes in some cases the university chancellors and presidents, have lost their power at this point. They realize that if they continue to dig their heels in the sand, their jobs are gone. So I think it is the power of football, but I don't think it's just the power of football.
It's a couple different things. I think the Big Ten, more than the Pac-12, because I feel like the Pac-12 was reactionary. The Big Ten, I think in their minds, they thought that the Big 12 would come with them.
Yes.
And follow them.
Yes.
With a shot at the ACC. Because you remember when the day the Pac-12 said no, that afternoon, reports out of the ACC says they'll stop.
Well, they were waffling.
Whatever, whatever. So then it's, hey, just let the SEC do whatever. We've got strength in numbers. We're kind of out here on we've got the power, and if it works, then great. But we're all kind of dumb, and we'll all figure it out from there. But once 3 played, and appears to be okay, everything's going all right.
Yeah.
Not only is it a change from a perception standpoint, but you don't have anybody in the boat with you because everybody expects the Pac-12 to be stupid. Like that doesn't help you at all. The Pac-12 sitting over here with you. I mean, from a public opinion standpoint, that does nothing. So then, you've got Ryan Day coming out and doing what he did. You've got all these different things. You've got governments that are struggling with just how to set regulations for these things. I mean, a couple of the states, in a way, didn't have a choice because the governments told them they couldn't gather in a large enough group to practice football. You know what I mean? I mean, they literally could not play.
Yeah.
So, you've got them trying to backtrack off of it. You've got them potentially changing protocols. You're getting the money pressure, the alumni pressure, the donor pressure, all these different things. And, I think
It was a political power play that backfired.
What's the reaction going to be to this
From who?
media? Are they going to get the pass or are they going to get popped?
Both.
Okay.
Their water boys are going to really carry the water.
What's the argument?
Well, I was getting ready to ask you that. I mean, they're going to have to get their talking points from somebody. And
they were careful and right on being careful, and now they're going to play?
Come on. I mean, yeah.
That's as good as
anything. Well, that's not
right?
directed at you, but if I'm Dan Wilkin or Pat
Wilkin
Forty.
went after Ryan Day.
Yeah, well, Pat Forty did too.
Did he?
Yeah, yeah. What was the quote? I put it in 10 thoughts.
Oh, you did?
I need to find it. Because it was just classic. Hold on, this is worth the pause for a second. Pat Forty. So Ryan Day tweeted,
head coach Ohio State.
Yep. Got to put my readers on so I can read this from this distance. I'm sorry, I'm getting old.
I'm going to walk out of the frame.
Okay. Here, and I'll lock in on just. I'll lock in on just me for a second. Everybody can see that. Ryan Day basically puts out a tweet that ends with, "Our players want to play. Why can't they play? They want to compete for a championship." That's what he says. We want to compete for a championship. Clemson can play. Notre Dame can play. Why can't we play? Our players want to play. Pat Forty says, "At least we're down to brass tacks. The schools that voted not to play in the fall should change their vote so Ohio State can chase a national championship." Got that? Illinois, Indiana, Maryland, Michigan, Michigan State, Minnesota, Northwestern, Penn State, Purdue, Rutgers, Wisconsin. Got that? Give me a break. What's the talking point today? I mean, what is the talking point when you're the people that carried the water for the Big Ten? Are you still going to say this is too dangerous? Is Christine Brennan going to say, "I just can't watch"? I'm paid to watch. I'm paid to write about it, but I just can't watch because we are unleashing havoc in these communities. What will happen in Madison, Wisconsin, and Iowa City, Iowa, and Minneapolis? What will happen? Happy Valley, Pennsylvania. What happens in these places? Oh God. Are they going to buckle down, or are they going to say, "Oh, I tell you, the Big Ten really took the extra 4 weeks and researched"? Because my response to that, not to interrupt you, my response to that would be, hey, to this day, the SEC they're playing. But all they ever said a few weeks ago was, we're going to keep moving forward carefully, slowly.
If there comes a time where we can't do it, we won't do it. But we're going to continue until that point. Now, look, Sankey's response and his plan the entire time has been very measured. Only saying what he needs to say. No, we're moving forward. September 26th. Yeah. We're gonna let some of you guys go first. We'll watch it. We'll look at it. Have at it. We're gonna root for you, and we'll see where it goes from there. No, I think you're going to get a couple things. I think you're going to get them going back to that study and going, "Hey, we were given false information." I think they'll put a lot of the burden and the blame on that report that came out where they had used literally the wrong math when they were coming through some different things to decide what was going on. You're going to have some of that. When, frankly, I mean, I mentioned on here, hey, what if you just said you overreacted? To me, that would be the easiest answer is society in general. I mean, I know this is amazing right now because this is going to be hard to say.
I know where you're going.
It's fairly forgiving once you actually get on the field. I mean, okay, maybe it's not even forgiving as much as our attention spans are so freaking short that we'll move on to something else and people will just be happy to watch Illinois and Iowa play football at some point. But just say you overreacted. Say, hey, it's working everywhere else, so we're going to give it a shot. Like, because at that point, you take their bullets away. I mean, who's going to write the thing and go, hey, we
were wrong. But for whatever reason, and we see this with
everything.
With everything.
Literally everything.
Literally everything. No one can say, hey, we were wrong. Thank God we were wrong. Isn't it great that we were wrong? I know you guys don't believe it, but our heart was in the right place. Now, I don't believe that. But if you combine that with we were wrong, we listened to a study that was flawed. We should have known it was flawed. We didn't. That was an egregious error. We apologize to our athletes, to our coaches, and most of all to you, the fans. Please forgive us. We're going to bring football back just as fast as we can.
What's their start date? The 17th? Is that what we're saying?
I think that's what they're saying. They're starting October 17th. So the SEC will be in week 4. It's the week that Ole Miss plays at Arkansas. You're still seeing us on YouTube, right?
Yeah, well.
I've got the YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming.
Oh, it's okay right now.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'll keep it up in case, but I'm not even noticing any jumping around.
Okay.
You're seeing that on the studio page?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it does that occasionally.
Okay.
That's the only thing I don't like. I mean, inside baseball for my listeners. That's the only thing I don't really like about that system is on the other one, I got a little number in the corner that gave me our signal strength.
Yeah.
And I don't have that there.
Well, for the longest time, it was telling me we had now it's gone. It's back to excellent connection. So we're fine.
Yeah. It's all good. So, yeah. Y'all see us. I see myself. It's cool.
Okay.
So what's
but
the
they won't say that.
So what's the Pac-12 doing?
Oh,
are they still not playing?
That's Chase, last night in Los Angeles,
the Rams played the Cowboys.
The Rams played the Cowboys in this beautiful new facility.
Awesome.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And there's nobody there. Why?
Well, look.
The numbers in California from
the
COVID
Saints had nobody there yesterday either, Saints and Bucks.
Well, and we know why.
And we'll get to that in a minute. Here's the dumb part, though. This was mentioned on the message board or on Twitter or somewhere this morning. I saw it and I already had it kind of written down for the day. Because I only called about a quarter and a half yesterday because my power was out for almost 4 hours yesterday.
Really?
It was not a cloud in the sky. But no, it was. I checked the app at one point, and there were 425 residents without power on the south side of town yesterday. I don't know.
So you didn't get to see Saints Bucks?
Well, I turned it on in the middle of the third quarter.
Okay.
I lost a little over a half-ish. But point being, I guess it was on the Janoris Jenkins interception return for a touchdown of Brady. So it's really my only criticism. Like, I for the most part, okay, whatever.
Go ahead.
I don't care.
Yeah.
The practice squad players that are sitting in the stands socially distanced. Hold on a minute. So we practice all week. They're in the bubble.
Yep.
But because for TV purposes, I assume, and they're actually in the stands, they're spread out.
Yeah.
So we're going to hug and tackle and be in the locker room all week long.
Yeah. All week.
But then, hey, 6 feet, air high fives as Janoris Jenkins is running down the field with the touchdown. I don't like.
No, it's stupid.
I'm fine with regulations. I'm cool. Just have some common sense. If those practice squad players are going to get it, they're going to get it anyway. They're staying 6 feet apart in the Superdome stands is not going to be what. Hey, we're being really, really cautious here.
Are you questioning the science?
I'm really that was the only thing that bothered me, and it's. Social distancing in general, have at it, feel good about it. But
I went to a high school football game on Friday, and if you're one of the people that's an Oxford School District person who's listening and you get easily offended, stop now. Because it's a very small criticism. It's not even a criticism. It's me pointing out the hypocritical nature of some of it, okay? They've got the band, the high school band, and the Chargerettes, the dance team, down in the end zone.
I saw a picture of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They've got the cheerleaders. They're supposed to be in one line, but they end up doubling up on one side of the end zone, on the sideline. Mm-hmm. And then the football team is supposed to be, quote, socially distanced. The following is not a criticism. Football cannot be socially distanced. It's not possible. But included on the sideline, they've got basically a tent with video that the kids get under when they're not on the field to watch the.
Sure. Yeah.
I thought tents were bad. Did you
see where the Vardaman coach from a lift on Friday night?
I saw that.
Like 40 feet ahead above the field.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze was so jealous.
I mean, didn't think of that one.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on.
Hold on. Can we go back?
Well, again, it's for people out there that are very, very cautious. I'm not even criticizing rules. I'm criticizing making a mockery of the rules just for public purposes. I mean, they mentioned in the stream the coaches wear the mask, and then when the player gets close to them, they pull the mask down so the player can hear them, and they talk into their ear.
They tested 500 players and coaches and got no negatives, no positives. They've been practicing together. If you really believe that they're following all of these regulations across the board, as you said a minute ago, when the cameras aren't on them, you're out of your mind. I keep waiting for someone to come, but instead they double down. I heard the guy on Meet the Press yesterday, the guy who got on the Joe Rogan show, I can't think of his name right now, and said 500,000 Americans will die back in March. He said we're staring at another, what do you say, 12 to 14.
It was the Minnesota guy. I forget his name, yeah.
Who did the Rogan podcast that scared the hell out of me that day.
I remember. Yeah.
The day I was driving up to get Campbell.
Yeah, I remember.
That same guy, 12 to 14 more months where we have to hunker down. No, we're not. I'm not hunkering down for 12 to 14 more months. I'm not wearing a mask for 14 more months. I'm going to break news to people. I'm not wearing one. You can say on the PA announcement at Oxford High School or wherever, mask must be worn here. I'll put it around my neck. I'm not wearing it for 14 more months. You wearing a mask for 14 more months?
I'd really rather not wear a mask for 14 more months.
That's not what I asked. Based on the numbers today.
They don't bother me, though.
But based on the numbers today, would you wear a mask for 14 more months?
No, because I think we're going to continue to decline. I don't think it's even a question. I mean, it looks like it's one of those deals where, and frankly, I'm not out enough right now. And maybe that's the more the question. Do you get stir crazy where I am? To this point, I don't feel like I ever have one on for any length of time anyway right now. Right. You know what I mean? Like my habits have not gotten back into a routine where I'm actually having it on my face very often. Right. I mean, it's almost kind of become second nature. Hey, I got to walk in the hardware store for a second, out, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just, but I mean, even that, I'm kind of almost talking to myself a little bit and going, hey, I'm not taking the dang thing off correctly. You know what I mean? I'll pull it down. You know what I mean? You're constantly touching it and different things. So, I mean.
Well, that was the funniest part.
Our mask protocol is not very good.
I'll give you an example. So I was watching the Cubs and Brewers some yesterday. The Cubs kind of blew the game open in the fourth inning. Mm-hmm. The Brewers committed an error basically where it was a sacrifice fly kind of a play. It was a sacrifice fly. And they wanted to challenge that a runner had left early.
Sure. Yeah.
And instead of getting time out to do it, they threw the ball to that base. Javi Baez saw that they threw it and took off running for home and essentially stole home.
Okay, yeah.
Craig Counsell, the Brewers manager, half-heartedly came out to argue. He did the thing where he came out.
Had to, so he did.
I'm going to argue, and I'm going to argue until you throw me out. His body language was not supporting his argument because he knew, God, because the Brewers really had.
We're being an idiot right here.
Well, the Brewers had a bad inning.
Yeah.
Missed a ball, threw a ball to the wrong base, did some stuff, and the Cubs made them pay for it. And a 0-0 game that, frankly, the Brewers had to win turned into a 5-0 Cubs lead, and Counsell was ready to go home. He probably had a beer in the locker room waiting on him, and I don't blame him. Regardless, his mask kept falling down.
Yeah.
And so the entire argument between him and the two umpires is mask pulling. And your hands are all over the mask now, which is all the things that we were told back in March and April that you can't do. I just found it amusing. And it made me feel good that I was not the only one because Jim Deshaies, the Cubs color analyst, started talking about the mask pulling.
So while we're on the topic, I'll tell you about Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy. Immune Support Med Packs. Pharmacists develop combinations of vitamins and supplements designed to boost your immune system and lung health. 30-day supply of vitamin C, zinc, NAC, probiotic, vitamin D3, and more. They work together to boost your immune system, GI regulation, immune regulation, and more. Pharmacists believe it's the best combination of over-the-counter supplements to help your body. You can find more at Tyson Drugs in Holly Springs, G&M Pharmacy on South Lamar in Oxford, and just by calling 662-236-2222.
We're also brought to you by the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area in Ridgeland. The College Corner is next to Fleet Feet, and in Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's no problem. You can visit the College Corner at collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. So whether you're tailgating in Oxford or home gating with friends and family, the College Corner has you covered. For game day, they have the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. Through the month of October, mention Rebel Grove at checkout. Get 15% off your entire purchase. You can also use it online. Just put Rebel Grove in the coupon tab at checkout. We're also brought to you by the Iron Horse Grill, located at 320 East Pearl Street in Jackson. It's the perfect place to enjoy lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch. Live music 4 times per week. It's also the largest beverage caterer in Mississippi. It can service the entire state. For information about that, call Sarah Black at 601-398-0151. Dead Soxy is ready for some football to celebrate the return of one of our favorite pastimes. Dead Soxy is giving you free money. I'm going to link it at rebelgrove.com in a thread, but you get a $10 shopping credit on deadsoxy.com. Simply click on the link, create an account, and redeem the $10 at checkout. If you have an account already and you've already used the code at an earlier date, no problem. Here's how you beat the system. Just create a new account, different email address, cash in on the offer. 4 email accounts, 4 discounts. If you're a MPW digital listener and not a Rebel Grove subscriber, support the podcast, sign up today, and send an email to Mike, M-I-K-E, at deadsoxy.com. Get your $10 code emailed directly to you. So don't miss out on free money to stock up on the best dress socks you'll ever put on your feet. And as always, stay Soxy. Rebel fans, we're just a couple of weeks away, literally 2 weeks away from the first Ole Miss football game of 2020, and our friends at Blue Delta Jeans want you to know they are here for your game day needs. So whether you're one of the lucky few to make it into Vaught Hemingway this season, or if you plan to watch the game at home with a few socially distanced friends, a new pair of Blue Delta jeans are just what you need to look great and feel comfortable on Saturdays. Blue Delta's new line of 4-way stretch cotton pants come in 12 colors, including a great new powder blue. They do look awesome for the Ole Miss fans. So drop by the Oxford studio, DM Blue Delta at Blue Delta Jeans on their social media, or email info@bluedeltajeans.com for more information. And remember, just because you won't be in the Grove this year doesn't mean you don't need to look your best for game day. Also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust is based in Madison, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states. They've got. They also have advisors in multiple states as well. All you have to do is go to pintrust.com, get in touch with the people at Pinnacle Trust. They also have the Pinnacle Trust 401k advisory services team. They can conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. Mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the Oxford Exxon podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fees.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a little better. I can even change mine a little bit. Am I 1 or 2? I don't even remember.
Well, I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I turned them both down a little bit.
We were both hot.
We were both crackling just a touch. But
Eric, that's what Caroline said yesterday.
Eric was trying to help us in the stream to tell us what to do. So I was fiddling with it while we were talking. I was trying to fiddle with it. So they said you're definitely better. I've turned mine down a little, but not quite as much. But anyway, yeah, we're a work in progress. We have the sign up right now that says, sure. Hey. I mean, I'll be honest. We got the overlay in like 30 seconds this morning, so that was kind of a win for the day to this point.
Well, the plan at one point yesterday was just to stick with the OBS for a few days.
Yeah,
but we're like, no, we're going to rip the Band-Aid off. We're Sweden.
So NFL thoughts, just over. But we'll do lines tomorrow. We got plenty of time. We'll get into some lines tomorrow. My picks, not so good. I'm pretty sure I went 3-0 in college and 0-3 in the NFL. So far. So
whatever you did to you. Do it. Switch it back.
Oh, I'm not good now?
They say you kind of sound like the Peanuts lady.
Oh, really? Oh, that's not good. Okay, hold on.
Here, I'll
talk while I'm doing it.
Yeah, Eric says it's going to take a good bit of tweaking. He's exactly right. I'll give you some NFL thoughts. I've got you off the camera so you can do what you need to do. Number one, I thought it was interesting that on Sunday morning it came out CBS was telling their announcers, hey, we're just going to talk about football. We're not going to condone, we're not going to condemn any of the political justice stuff, any of the social justice stuff. We're just going to play football and talk about the football. So I thought that was interesting on one hand. And then on the other, the actual football was pretty
real quick. Am I better or worse? Better or worse? Real quick, while we're doing this. I mean, they can hear me even though the camera's not.
I've got you back on now.
Not to cut you off, but
No, you're good.
I moved it around a little bit.
I was filibustering, so you're fine.
Okay. Because I wasn't exactly sure which way to turn it, so we turned it away and we're waiting to see what happens.
Larry does have a really good idea, Larry Joe.
Yeah.
In the sign with "Bear with Us"
Yeah.
is the rebel bear with the box on his head.
That's fair.
That would be an absolutely great.
All right. Better. Okay, good. All
Okay.
right. Same for somebody. Same's just fine. Much better. Okay.
Okay.
That's enough betters to go, yeah, we're better then.
I felt like someone says that the NFL felt more normal than college, and I agree.
No, it did. I don't know why.
Well, because the NFL has always been this packaged 3-hour, 15-minute product.
Well, and you're professional athletes, so the lack of preparation is not going to affect them to the same level that is going to protect colleges.
Right.
The systems aren't as big of a deal when they come in and new and whatnot, so all that. Now, I thought the product was fine yesterday. I mean,
Mitch Trubisky, 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns.
Including a dime to Anthony Miller
that
there
was
late.
a hell of a play. Credit where it's due.
that was one that was all right.
Because Jeffrey had a really good point, because I was watching the broadcast. Dick Stockton in the second quarter, Trubisky completed a pass, and Stockton said, and there's the pass, it's complete. He didn't mean to do it. I think he was just sort of stunned that Trubisky actually completed a forward pass. But he had a great fourth quarter. And
he did.
Yeah, they're not a good team.
No, they're fine.
They're solid on defense.
I do think the Bucs are going to be fine, but I'm still not a believer in Tampa.
I don't know.
Brady
Breeze
can't throw the ball down the field.
Huh?
Breeze can't throw the ball down the field.
Here's what the Saints have that the Bucs don't have.
The Saints are a better team. The Saints are the best team in the NFC South.
And they have a coach who's been with these weapons long enough that he can. Frankly, the Saints would be better off. I can't believe I'm saying this.
Handing Jameis the ball?
No, they'd have been better off if they could have just kept Teddy.
Oh, you think Teddy would have been
I think he's got a little better arm than Breeze right now.
Well, look, Breeze early on didn't throw the ball down the field at all. He finished with less than 200 yards passing on the day. I mean, it did not look like an offense that we're used to seeing from New Orleans whatsoever. He threw the one good ball to Sanders down the sideline. And that was pretty much the only thing with any type of link to it the entire day from that standpoint.
Seattle looked good.
Yeah, I don't think Atlanta's good. Calvin Ridley is great, but I don't think Atlanta is good.
All right, what happened with the Cowboys-Rams game? That was past my bedtime.
An offensive pass interference call on Amari Cooper that was not pass interference and definitely swung the game because the Cowboys could have won it on that drive late. Completely bailed out. The Rams were. Now, the Rams outplayed them the entire day. I mean, they were losing at halftime when they had dominated the game. They just had not scored in the red zone.
All right, let's do overreaction Monday. Or the people that say, Cleveland's really, really, really bad. 38-6 loss to a very good
Baltimore's
team.
Good. Cleveland's not good. Yeah. That's how bad, I don't know. I'm not going to say they're going to go 1-15 or anything, but yeah, they're not good. They're not good at all.
Buffalo's legitimately good.
Buffalo knows who they are, and they execute that plan. Now, Josh Allen has such a low ceiling
Yes.
that I don't know. I mean, did you see the pass he threw yesterday where he missed the guy? He rolls out left.
He has a certain Andy Dalton
There's
quality.
no one in the end zone on that side of the field but his guy, and he overthrows him by 10 yards. He's not good, but they're fine.
Raiders win their first game as the Las Vegas Raiders. They win in Charlotte 34-30.
Happy for Ron Rivera getting a win with Washington yesterday, beating the Eagles. Had to get an IV at halftime. He's undergoing cancer treatment right now. They got the win. The Colts looked bad yesterday.
Yeah, Colts look bad. Someone brought this up about Jacksonville, about tanking for Trevor, and they're not going to tank for Trevor. But Jacksonville's needs are not Trevor Lawrence. They've got a good quarterback. Minshew gets covered up because he does all the crazy stuff and all that, and so people go, he's so funny. He's a pretty good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
If you told me I could have Gardner Minshew or Baker Mayfield, I might take Gardner.
Really? Think so? Jeffrey just disowned you so fast. I mean, that might be the end.
I'm a little worried about Baker. This doesn't look the part.
And it's just Cleveland, man.
He doesn't have a lot of help. It's not all his fault. But he doesn't look the part. New England wins 21-11.
Cam was okay.
He was fine.
And look, they can get things done with him just being fine. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. Look, New England's always had a better overall team than they've gotten credit for. We've put so much emphasis on Brady. I mean, that defense is good year in and year out.
They're the San Antonio Spurs of the NFL.
Yes.
They're never bad.
Changing any predictions after week 1?
No, it's because that's a major error when you do it.
Well, yeah, the Saints typically get the hell beat out of them in week 1 every year. It's really weird to be 1-0.
Packers win 43-34.
Now, beat up on the Vikings yesterday.
Yeah. And if you're Minnesota, that's a problem. That worries you.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I thought if there's a warning sign, Minnesota maybe, especially because the Packers are in your division. I thought that was a warning sign. I thought the Cardinals looked better yesterday.
I thought
Arizona was pretty good yesterday.
They're going to be better.
Sneaky. Well, it's not really sneaky because it's been the case in a lot of ways, but Arizona was what held them back. Probably maybe the best overall division in football, the NFC West.
Yeah.
Cardinals, Rams, 49ers, Seahawks.
Well,
everybody's pretty good.
If you're those teams, if you're Seattle, you won your game and you got on the plane and you saw that score and you went,
Kind of wanted you to suck. Needed somebody to.
Yeah, everybody's good.
You wanted later in the day to go, hey, Cowboys, beat up on the Rams a little bit. Let's say their window's over. But no, they were okay. I mean, that's the thing, too, about the Rams. I know they weren't what they were supposed to be last year, and they were having that Super Bowl hangover, and whether the Patriots did or did not expose Sean McVay and Jared Goff. They were the first team out of the playoffs last year. Let's not act like they sucked. I mean, they were the 7 seed.
That was an overreaction because everyone said they're going to win the Super Bowl, and then they weren't that caliber of team.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, well, they sucked. Well, they didn't suck.
Yeah.
They were in the middle.
They were one game out of the playoffs.
Yeah, and they were kind of beat up.
They would have been in New Orleans had they gotten in.
Yeah. My week 1 overreaction probably is the Saints are so clearly the best team in the NFC South that they have some time to figure out. And Peyton is smart enough to figure it out. But I don't think Peyton has, based on 1 week, I think he's got to change his playbook a little. I think some of the downfield stuff's not going to be there for him.
Well, they didn't get Michael Thomas involved very much yesterday. He was keyed on much more yesterday than in previous seasons. Signed Kamara to an extension. He looked great yesterday.
He looked terrific.
He looked great. Defensively, they were okay. I thought defensive line really got after Tampa at times yesterday. They were fine.
The way that the game is officiated at the NFL level, defensively they were fine. You can't maul people in the NFL anymore. So you're going to give up downfield stuff. I tell you the one thing that stuck out to me and it doesn't matter because neither team is a contender, but if you're the Lions, you really have to question your play calling late in that game. There was a 3rd and 6 that led to an interception, which led to the Trubisky to Miller touchdown, where if I'm Detroit, we run the football right there. And I tell Mitch Trubisky, I don't think you can drive 70-something yards in a 2-minute offense with the game on the line. Instead, they give him a short field where he's dangerous because he's so athletic.
Sure.
I mean, Trubisky, for all of his flaws, is still an elite athlete who really has great feet. So, I mean, for them, for the Bears, it's a big win because I'm sure they're hoping and praying that, hey, this quarter of success will create some momentum for him. And they're good enough on defense where if they have some success on offense, they can be a good team in a division where a couple of the teams didn't look very good.
Yeah. Good stat here in this live stream. The Rams' top 3 running backs are all Mississippi natives.
Oh, that's right.
All
Cam
three.
Akers and
Daryl Henderson and Malcolm Brown.
Oh, wow.
Malcolm Brown was born in Biloxi before he went to Texas. So, yeah.
2 games tonight, Steelers and the Giants. That game's at 6:10.
It is. Our final game in Pick'em for the week.
Yep, and then Titans and the Broncos at 9:20 tonight. I won't make it to the end of that one.
See where Vrabel was wearing a mask when he got on the plane yesterday. It said, "Please hand the ball to Derrick Henry."
Yeah.
Yes, that is your offense, actually. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Hey, Derrick Henry took him to the AFC title game.
Tennessee, look, they were the most nondescript franchise in sports for a long time. The Titans are kind of fun. In their own way, they're kind of fun.
Yeah.
I don't hate them. Like, I kind of like watching them now.
I
When they were the most, like, uniforms to everything, just the most boring. Like, they've been in our coverage window always, and it's like, oh, Jesus. Like, I can't watch anymore. They're fine. They're all right.
I don't know whether it's because I was so close to feeling like we weren't going to get football, or whether it's because, the Thunder are done, so I'm not watching as much NBA now. The games are late. And I didn't watch a second of Denver Clippers yesterday. I wonder what those ratings will be.
Really
Bad. But I think I'm going to get the NFL Sunday ticket, and I normally don't get it.
No, I'm really interested right now. I'm in.
I'm interested in about 12 teams.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got a team in every division. There is a team in every division that I kind of go, you know what? All right,
yeah,
I'm kind of in on.
I was flipping around, watching different teams. I'm like, this is great. And everybody goes red zone. I like red zone. It's cool. But I just can flip around and watch different teams. I'm interested in the Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals. I'm interested in the Seahawks.
Yeah, like I'm pulling it up right now. I mean, AFC East. The Bills kind of interest me for whatever dumb reason.
The Bills interest me a bunch.
The Bills are interesting.
And New England is interesting now because it's Cam and not Brady, so it's new. The Jets are interesting.
The North is probably where I don't really have one. I'm not overly interested in the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, or Browns.
No.
I don't care.
No. Agreed.
I don't even know that I have a favorite-ish team or like whatever. Whatever.
No,
it's all good.
I agree.
Because I don't like Pittsburgh for some reason. They kind of bug me. The Titans are it in the AFC South. I like following the Titans a little bit. I randomly kind of follow the Texans a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know why, just kind of because.
I do agree with Jeffrey's hot take about Deshaun Watson, which is he's very good, but he's not elite. And when you watch him against Mahomes and you insist on doing the comparison, it's not good. And because it's not fair to Mahomes in many ways, because it's a possibility that when you watch Mahomes, you're watching one of the all-time greats at the early portion
The
of
other
his
thing,
career.
too, with the Texans, and it happened even again on Thursday night, Tunzel gets beaten up by the media so much because of two things. He might have the hardest offensive line job in sports. His left guard is god-awful.
Yeah.
Just awful. Like, I mean, just whipping every other
Yeah.
play where, I mean, it was a play that I think Cole Kubelik pointed it out, Chris Brown pointed it out on Twitter, where the left guard does such a bad job, Tunzel is trying to block his guy and react to that guy and kind of gets overwhelmed and spun in circles because it's like, I got to grab somebody here and you're whatever.
Because the defensive ends in the NFL are typically pretty good.
Yeah, if I'm not over here to this guy, he's going to kill somebody.
Yeah.
So the other thing is Watson, he gets out of the pocket so much and so quickly that nobody knows where he's at. So, like, you're blocking your guy, but all of a sudden you look up and Watson has run into your guy because he's immediately moving around and out, and he doesn't stay even in his little circle whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it makes it very complicated on tackles because you don't really know where you're supposed to push the guy to. You could be pushing the guy into your quarterback just as much as anything else. And it's a little complicated deal there as they move forward. The Chiefs are fun. They just are.
They're legitimately good.
I'm kind of interested in Denver a little bit.
Yeah. That game tonight, if it weren't so damn late, I'd probably watch the whole thing.
I don't have an interesting team in the NFC East, now that I say that. Nobody there sticks out to me whatsoever.
Oh, I'm interested in the Giants. They have a unique talent at running back.
Okay.
And they gambled. They did the Trubisky thing with Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's either going to pay off or it's going to be an egregious error. Because there were other quarterbacks that were safer picks there.
Obviously Saints. I like the Pack. I'm following the Packers. I'm interested in what the Packers are doing right now, and the Vikings from the standpoint of is it bad?
Oh, NFC North is interesting.
Everybody's kind of fun there.
Yeah. There's not a
strange way. I mean, I know the lines are the lines, but
yeah, that was a big loss for them.
Awful. And then I can get sold into having a storyline with every team in the NFC West. there's something about every one of them that kind of makes me. And now, look, I hate the Seahawks, but there's something that kind of intrigues me there a little bit about them. For a team that I don't deal with very much, I might hate the Seahawks more than anybody else in the NFL. Like outside of the NFC South.
I'll tell you this about Seahawks, and I know it's an Oxford kid and it's Ole Miss and it's low-hanging fruit, but DK Metcalf is a superstar.
He is.
He's the way the NFL is played, the way the NFL is officiated, the way that the rules are set up. And I don't blame them. People tune in to get points. Fantasy football people want points. Nobody wants a bunch of 9-7 football games.
Mm-hmm.
You already are at a disadvantage physically against Metcalf, and now you can't really do anything against him.
So good luck.
And not only does he have that big body, but he can run.
Yeah.
He's impossible. And Wilson's a great deep ball thrower.
Yeah.
Wilson, to me, is still an underrated quarterback.
That's fair. No. He's got Super Bowl. I mean,
but I don't know that we give him the credit he deserves.
That's fair.
He's legitimately keeps you in every game, and he has weapons. And Carroll's a really good coach.
Yeah.
They're fun. That division's fun. The Niners are good. The Cardinals are good. Just kind of goes on and on. It's a really good division. The NFL's fun. I'm more into the NFL right now than I've been in a long time. Before we hadn't got college games yet.
Yeah.
Not the ones I want. If you want to travel to some NFL cities, you probably can't get into the stadiums, at least not yet. But if you want to go and check it out, get in touch with John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. He's found deals right now with people wanting to go to the World Cup in 2022. He's found deals if you're looking for some resorts this fall just to get away. The deals are incredible right now. Get in touch with John for more information. Give him some parameters and a budget. He'll give you options. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. We're also brought to you by OUB, Oxford University Bank, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. All the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with the personal touch. To learn more, go to liveoxford@bankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. And we're brought to you by Bluff City Advisory Group, dedicated to building the future you desire. Founded in Memphis in 2019, their team is comprised of established and seasoned financial experts who came together to serve individuals and families of their beloved hometown. They believe that everyone deserves financial security, so no matter your level of wealth or financial goal, they'll serve as an advocate and a guide to grow a portfolio that is fruitful and sustainable for you. It's 901-365-3447 or Ben, B-E-N, at bluffcityadvisory.com. And we're brought to you by the law firm of Bain, Moss, and Bowen, located in historic downtown Corinth, Mississippi. Their firm practices a wider range of law, from DUI defense to car wrecks to representing government entities. Bain, Moss, and Bowen, PLLC, is the only firm in Mississippi that is made up of a sitting state legislator, a former assistant district attorney, and a former circuit judge. Their experience is unmatched in that regard, and you can tap into it by visiting them at 618 East Waldron Street in Corinth or by calling them at 662-287-1620.
Lane Kiffin will speak to the media today. Is that right?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is today. We'll have
Noonish.
coverage of that around noon. Neil's 10 Weekend Thoughts are up. The mailbag is up for questions. If you would like to take part in that, it is pinned up top at rebelgrove.com. We'll do a Saturday show again this week. I think we'll do that.
We'll do a Thursday night show. We'll do we need to
practice.
We need to practice.
Yeah, we got some stuff to do. We need practice.
Yeah, we'll go back and look at this film and see some errors and clean them up.
Yeah, so that's overall a pretty good first day with the stuff. I think we've gone pretty well. So we appreciate you. Again, this is not going to be a normal time slot. There's reasons today, scheduling-wise, why this was necessary on my end. So we're here today. We'll do it occasionally, but it's not what we're doing right now. Basically, because Ole Miss has media ops at noon. It makes no sense. Things are obsolete within hours.
Here's where it's different. Just a real quick explanation. Monday, this is the last week of, quote, preseason.
Mm-hmm.
They go into game week Monday, and they're going to practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
So we're going to get media ops mid-morning to late morning those 3 days. So from a scheduling standpoint,
it just is what it is.
It just is what it is. So maybe we'll, then we're going to do a Thursday night
show.
We'll
intersperse some, but it is what it is.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But I know people like this time slot. We do too. Frankly,
it gets done.
We made our hay doing this, but from a football season standpoint, I don't know that it's going to work many days.
Yeah. So we'll be back tomorrow afternoon. Will be the next podcast around 1:00 for tomorrow's start time. So come hang out. We appreciate it. This will obviously be in podcast form as always. And we will talk to you again tomorrow. So take care. Have a good day.